I'd be up real early to clock into my shift on Instagram stories. I literally woke up at 3 a.m. this morning. Do not ask me why. I don't know. I went to sleep a little early, like 9:30. I tried to go back to sleep. I really did. And then all of a sudden it was 4. And I was like, if I really go back to sleep right now, I'm not going to wake up till 7. I honestly would rather just take this for what it is. The gift that it is. And I got my ass up at 4 a.m. And can I just tell you, the amount of things I got done before 10 o'clock, I already had gone to the gym, meditated, did all my emails, went to the grocery store, made a few phone calls I had to make, logged in. So I really think waking up at 4:30, let me not push it. I mean, I'll do a 4. But that's really the wave, because at 5 a.m., it's by the time you're actually up, it ends up being 6, because if you're doing your skincare and making your coffee, it's that stuff adds up. So it's really a 4, 4:30, so you can start your day at 5. That is the best. I got so much done. The difference between that and waking up at 6:30 or 7, it's crazy how different it is. Happy August 1st, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of the Stella Write Herself podcast. I feel like it's been a minute since we've talked, since my last episode was pre-recorded, since I was visiting my family back home and I still wanted to get an episode out. So it was my birthday, and now it's been a week, but thank you so much for all the birthday wishes. I honestly had such a fun birthday. I feel like I was celebrating for 2 weeks, because I went back home and was kind of celebrating with my family, and we went to dinner and I was relaxing. And then this past weekend I did stuff pretty much every day, and it was just so fun. Shout out to everyone that came out and celebrated with me. Thank you to everyone who messaged me or commented. I really appreciate you guys, and I hope everyone is having a good Leo season. And just as a reminder, on your birthday, I am not one to get sad around my birthday, not to flex, but I think what really helps with that is you just have to ask yourself, what do I want to do? And do that. And it's just all part of prioritizing yourself. You do not have to have a huge birthday celebration, and I've just never really been like that. Sometimes it does end up being, a big celebration, but it's not I have the expectation going into it. Birthdays is when the tea comes out, because you do see who prioritizes you in their life. And some people, you may be friends with, and I'm not shading anyone from literally my birthday this year, but just in general, you see okay, if something's literally not about them at all, how are they going to show up for me? And then also just the fun tea of which of my crushes is going to wish me happy birthday, and in what format? Is it going to be an actual text, a call, a reply to an IG story? So that's always fun. So just prioritize yourself if it's your birthday, and enjoy the tea of it being your birthday. And I really do want to do a birthday trip. I've never done that. I think a solo birthday trip would be fire. I'm officially out of my early 20s, and it feels good. I don't know, I just always knew 26, knock on wood, would be a fire year for me. I just always knew. And I think it's that balance of you're still in your 20s, but you just have a little bit more, game, life experience, and knowledge about the world. I just remember when I was 19 or 20, one of my best friends was 26 at the time, and I would just peep her and think that. I'd be see, she's still young, but it's she knows who to hit up if we need to get into this place, or she knows who to talk to, how to talk to people, And I was always I feel 26 is gonna be a good year, and your brain's fully developed, and it just feels good, and I just feel lock in, I just feel a lot more structured. I mean, I've always been structured and organized, but I think just the lead up to 30, you're okay, let me get all my ducks in a row. So that's kind of what I wanted to start off today talking about is, babe, it's time to lock in. I think a lot of people are unsatisfied with their life because, number one, they're scared to get outside of their comfort zone, and number two, they lack the discipline to be consistent with a routine that's going to give them ultimately the results that they do want. Anything that you want, you have to invest time into and do pretty much every day. So if you want to start your gym routine, you need to be going to that gym pretty much every day. You need to incorporate it as part of your routine. So your life has to change before you see the results and your life changes in that specific way that you're envisioning, You can't continue in the way that you're going now if you have a specific goal in mind by just staying the same, doing the exact same thing you're doing every day. Like, even just me noticing that I am so much more productive when I wake up that much earlier, like, I'm like, damn, like, okay, now I know what I have to do, you know? If you want to grow on Instagram, you need to post every single day, you know? Like, I had a video go super viral on Instagram Reels. Like, it has almost 15 million views at this point. And, like, I was posting every day, and you never know what might stick. And I think that's just a good analogy for life, too. It's like, you never really know the point at which, oh my God, like, now I'm seeing the results I want. Now I can say that I've made it. Now I know for certain I'm headed in the right direction. It's like that meme of, like, the diamond mining. You never know when you might strike gold, you know? And I saw one of those classic, you know, kind of corny posts, but it's like, I'm not scared of what passes me by because I know anything for me will not miss me. I, however, think you need to be aligning yourself with your quote-unquote best self, or just the version of yourself that is the most authentic to you and what you want in your life. Because if you're holding yourself back, if you feel like gross every day, if you just feel like unproud of yourself or like just not good, you're going to miss the opportunities that are trying to get to you because you kind of have this filter on of like, I don't deserve it, or like I'm not good enough, or I'm not ready for that, or I'm too scared, or like, oh my God, like no, maybe next time. So it's kind of freeing actually, because, and this is just true for like all facets of life, like your own personal goals, your career goals, your dating goals, as long as you are putting yourself as a priority and investing in yourself and working on your own self-esteem, everything else will align. That doesn't mean you won't be tested or, you know, things are just going to happen right away. Like, I think especially once you realize that and start implementing it, there's definitely that transitionary period, and you most likely, hopefully, will experience that multiple times throughout your life as you like continue to grow, if that's something you're dedicated to, where, you know, it's like, oh, I kind of, you know, I have to switch up what I'm doing. I have to like lose some friends. I have to like stop hanging out in certain places because it just doesn't feel right anymore. Or every time I do that, or every time I hang out with this person or whatever, date this kind of person, it's just giving me the same results that I don't want and I'm unsatisfied. So you have to push past that, again, like transitionary period to like get to the other side and be like, okay, now I'm aligned. But I really do think it comes down to knowing that you deserve it. And again, putting the emphasis on yourself and stop giving away your emotional energy to things that don't matter. Like I just think the gym is such a classic example for a lot of people, because that's like something a lot of people know that they should be doing. And it's like, oh, I'm scared. Oh my God, it's just so hard. But for a lot of people, it's like, oh, I'm scared people are going to judge me. If you're putting the emphasis on yourself, it's like, okay, well, I know I'm doing something good for myself, so why would I care what somebody else thinks? Genuinely, it doesn't matter. If you're too much in your own head, you are assuming what other people are thinking or trying to figure out what other people are thinking. It's like, okay, what do I think? Am I doing something productive right now? Like, would I literally do something bad for myself just because other people thought I should? When you believe in yourself and are dedicated to yourself in all aspects, it's not going to feel like so much of a chore to do things that you know are ultimately good for you long term. And there's a lot of tips and tricks, you know, that you can do, and like, you know, having a dopamine detox, and like stop doing a lot of things, unhealthy habits and behaviors that are like holding yourself back. But I think at the root of it is like, do you feel that you deserve to be happy and healthy or not? Because, and then I'm sorry if this is you, but I just think it's so annoying when people always want to complain about something and then not do anything about it. Because it's like, okay, then just shut up. Like, especially if you're kind of friends with somebody or just always have to be around somebody, maybe like at work or something, where they're just always talking about like maybe how they want to lose weight or like how they want to get out of their toxic relationship or whatever. And it's like, you just want to talk about it. Like, you don't actually want to do anything about it, because if you did, you would. Tips for being locked in, genuine. I love a little coffee. A high protein food for sure, because then you don't have that carb crash. And honestly, y'all, like I'm not promoting a low carb. Like, I would not say I'm low carb, but recently in the morning, I think I like ran out of bread or something, because usually I would have like an avocado toast with eggs. And so I just started doing like 3 eggs, and I would put cheese in the eggs and do avocado and just have that. And I was like, oh my God, like I hope I have enough energy for this workout. And I did. And I did not have that, like, because I will walk home from the gym, and sometimes on that walk, I'd be hungry. Like, I'm like, oh my God. And it didn't happen. I'm like, oh my God, the high protein, higher fat, like lower carb, like, why is it working? But then I would, like, have it later in the day. Anyway, a high protein food for sure. Prioritize high protein, a little caffeine, not too much. If you have a problem with caffeine, you need to go on a little caffeine detox, because I cannot do too much. It has the opposite effect, and it's really like not healthy for you, especially as a woman with like our hormones and stuff. So for me, my ultimate locked-in is like a high protein breakfast with a little black coffee, splash of oat milk, either like a Deep House mix on YouTube or Future, everything under Not Disturb. Hydration, okay? And another thing that's really been helping me is not being on my phone first thing. And sometimes like on a weekend, or like if I went out the night before and it's like, okay, this is my Saturday, like this is my, you know, rest day. Sometimes I will let myself lay in bed and be on my phone. But just literally eliminating that first doom scroll sesh of the day. And I mean, in the morning, it's more so checking notifications and stuff, but just waiting to do all that until after I get up, I meditate, I make my coffee, I drink water, brush my teeth, you know, all that. And then I check my phone, and it just literally makes me so much more clear-headed and calm. I've had so much less anxiety since doing that. And the meditation really helps as well. And now it's been, I know I've like talked about it in the past videos, but I'm just letting y'all know. It's also Mercury retrograde, I believe. I think it's definitely the shadow period. I think it starts officially on Monday, Sunday or Monday. Nothing to fear, y'all. Just make sure that you review everything. It's honestly a really great time. Like, I think for me, the perfect example of this is I have some clothes that, you know, they're kind of summery clothes that I could still list on Poshmark because there's still time, you know, it's not like officially fall yet. Like, I think some people would still buy it. So that's like a perfect Mercury retrograde little thing. So it's just like cleaning shop, do a little summer cleaning, you know, maybe start thinking about how you want your fall and winter to go. It's a great time for planning, you know, review your lock-in routine. Did y'all know, by the way, that if you let your Apple Care expire, if you don't renew it within 30 days, you just can't get Apple Care anymore on that device? So you literally have to buy a new device if you want, like, it to be insured. And for some reason, like, I literally had to get a new phone in November because it cracked. And they were like, there's also water damage. Like, we have to just replace it. And then my Apple Care apparently expired a couple months later. And I never got an email. Like, what? Little things like that are, like, annoying. But you don't need to, like, freak out. You know what's annoying is this new trend. It's not new. It's, like, tired, actually. Just girly things of experiencing horrors and getting sweet treats every day. Also, something I was thinking about is, and no offense, but I know I've talked about how I think a side part is so much more baddie, like 2000s, 2010s baddie. Like what we grew up with looking as like who was the celebrity at the time, like that's what I think of. And I told y'all, as soon as I switched to a side part, like I started having way more pull. And it's like, I had pull before, but something about the side part, when I do the side part, mad pull. And I think it's like with the skinny brow side part, I think it's just because it's like that early 2000s, like that was the look. And so like, especially with movies and stuff, like the Hot Girl movie, that's kind of like what the vibe would be. I was just thinking, this made me think about like trends and when people, like fast fashion and people just wanting to be on the trends so much. When you dress trendy, like a middle part baggy pants, little top, sneakers, and obviously if you don't care, you don't care. I'm not saying you have to do this, but if you keep attracting the same type of guy, like, you know, when a girl, and maybe this is literally you, but she's like, oh my god, like I just keep attracting these like skater bros who I know can't provide for me with a dangly earring. And it's like, okay, but that's kind of like your aesthetic and like how you're coming across. I mean, somebody may say it's like a millennial thing to do a side part, but I think I'm like ahead of the trend, y'all, because you know these things change. But when you focus on dressing just more feminine, girly, like not trendy, but just a little bit more timeless. And I think summer is such a great season for this, because you can just put on a cute little flowy dress and like you're good, you know, and like a little sandal. The rumors are true. You do attract just better quality guys, and the dangly earring bros or whoever it is that's like just not the kind of bro that you may want, or maybe that you've wanted in the past, but now you're like, hey, this isn't actually what I want. You deter them and you attract like just better quality guys. So just a little hack for you, because it's all connected, you know, and I think especially because, you know, it was my bday and I was just kind of like looking at old memes, old pics, and like how I used to dress. And so again, obviously it's like, if you don't care, period, like wear whatever you want and what makes you comfortable. But if you are someone that dates men and you're like, oh my god, I'm so sick of choose the skater bro or dangly cross earring bro. If you're like sick of attracting that and they're like being annoying, it's like, okay, let me just like switch up my aesthetic and like, you know, because it's all interconnected. And honestly, where I also was going with that in terms of fast fashion is when you focus, like regardless of like the male gaze or like dating, like just take that out of it. It's just easier to dress because you don't have to be on top of every trend. There's so many micro trends, and I saw a tweet recently about how what used to bring kids together, the youth together, is, and I mean it still does, I think this tweet was a little dramatic. They're like, it used to be, you know, music and politics and like all this stuff, and now like the root of so many communities are like, you know, people jumping on like, for example, the Stanley Cup thing is like, that's how people are feeling connection, and it's like through consumerism instead of through art or like through something that's actually a little bit more meaningful. And obviously like over consumerism is such an issue, and like it's kind of empty because that's not really going to fulfill you and like make you feel connected. Like I think it can to a certain extent, but like a lot of people just y'all have seen those videos like when people have a million like tree hut scrubs in their shower. Side note, I don't really like body scrubs. I feel like it's the oil in it that's making you think your skin is soft of exfoliating. If y'all want to exfoliate, you need to get a Korean spa mitt, especially if you use self-tan, get a spray tan, like that will take it off. Like you will see it just come off. A body scrub, it's kind of like, it gives like fake exfoliate. Like if that's the only thing you're exfoliating with, I don't really trust it. Part of growing up is experimenting with your style and seeing what you like and what you don't like. But I think there is something a lot to be said. Like I'm not even saying have a capsule wardrobe, like goals honestly is chic, but just when it's like, okay, I just want to be like pretty or like, and just focusing less on being trendy, which I'm not trying to take away from the fashion girlies, but you know, there's like a difference. There's a difference. And I think a true fashion girly is not giving it, me answering my own inquiry. Wow. A true fashion girly is not just jumping on every micro trend and like doing a huge like $3,000 Shein haul every single whatever they do, you know, because you understand like the importance of getting pieces over just like jumping on a trend. And it's like you want to look unique. Let me know what you think about that. But yeah, I think it's kind of worrisome, new and upcoming generations, as far as just intelligence and just really feeling that lack of community. When the reel that had gone very viral was the one that was like, why is it embarrassing to walk places? And I think it went so viral also because like a lot of people related, and then it was also it was like a 3-second reel or something, so people kept rewatching it to like read it. Little hack for you. But I did a little poll on my story after that video had kind of popped off, and I was like, okay, first of all, majority of people said they lived in a walkable city, which I don't believe. Most of my audience is like USA, Canada, you know, and you know, New York obviously is like a walkable city in America, but point being, most places in my top countries are not walkable cities. Majority of people said they did not feel connected to their community. It was actually like a huge percentage difference. And then majority of people also said they do not get at least 10,000 steps a day. Makes sense that most people said they do not feel connected to their community. And I think if you can really practice just talking to people and just get good at being in real life, you're going to have such a huge advantage over so many people. Because so many people, especially like in our generation and the generations below, scared of talking on the phone, scared to do this, scared, oh my god, I feel so awkward, oh my god, I have anxiety. And I'm like, yeah, facts, because you're on a fucking phone all day, you're looking at your computer all day, you're not like out in the world engaging with people. And since, you know, moving to New York and just being surrounded by people so much, and like actually consciously also making an effort to like talk to people and just get better at it, girl, I'd be talking to everyone, like, and I just have way less of that kind of social anxiety and like awkwardness, and I feel a lot more grounded. Just start doing all the things that people are not doing, and like especially that kids aren't doing. And I hope if y'all have kids, like, please, you know, teach them to read, like not like literally physically read, but like, it's just crazy how many parents also, and not to parent shame, but it's just crazy how many of these kids already grow up addicted to a screen, like on their iPad at like a little kid age. Like, oh my god, it is a little just concerning. And then seeing teachers talk about like how many kids are just using AI for like their essays, and like how obvious it is, and like there's way less critical thinking skills. And then you just already see the lack of critical thinking skills on like Twitter when people are talking about these things. And yeah, it's just like, y'all remember when I went to the beach and those awkward, you know, people were like playing lawn, and I was like, oh my god, like trying to have a little bonding, connecting moment, and they were just like, yeah, like they were so awkward and weird. Like it was giving social anxiety, but it was like they had this kind of like rude edge, and it's like, I think people just don't really know how they're coming across. So live in the real world. I don't know if it's like a real Kanye tweet, and not to literally like promote a Kanye tweet, not to promote a man. And I don't even know if this was a real tweet or if, like, I think it was. But the tweet where he's like, treat your phone like a tool. Like, you wouldn't carry a hammer around with you everywhere. You would just take it out when you need it. So just take your phone out when you need it, you know? And I know it's like easier said than done. But yeah, when people just talk about how toxic social media is, it's like, yeah, if I start seeing all these depressing tweets on my timeline or something, because it's always like Twitter where people are just complaining or just being bad vibes, I just click away, scroll away, swipe away, put the phone down, go out in the real world. It's just sad, you know, so many people feel so lonely and isolated and disconnected from others, and so they're on social media more and more and more, and that's like not real. And then you go to meet up with them in person, or you meet someone in real life, and they're just like a complete awkward dweeb because they don't have any social skills, because they're just on their phone all the time. And I'm not trying to sound like an old person or like this generation, but it's like a real issue. And I think I also just have had such a striking difference in how I feel, you know, when I lived in LA and like not a walkable place. I mean, again, y'all know I lived downtown, so it was a little bit more walkable than other places, but you know, it's not like New York where there's people out all the time. There's people just posted up on the sidewalk, you know. Say what you will about the bros shooting dice on the little corner where I have to walk to the train, and then I literally am like, when I'm on the phone with my friends, I'm like, I'm at sexual harassment corner. At least they're adding to the community ambiance. You know, I'm just kidding. What did I even post about that? Oh, it was like a video where I was just walking, and people were getting mad at that video, whatever. But I was like, oh, people want to say, I've never felt unsafe in New York, which also, what's with this, like, narrative people are trying to push? Like, I don't know if it's people from New York that are just trying to prove that they're from New York so bad, which, no disrespect, like, or if it's people that move here and just are trying to fit in so bad and, like, not be called, like, a transplant. But I've just seen it enough times for me to notice it, where people are like, well, I never feel unsafe here. And it's like, okay, maybe you should a little bit, because you have to be on point. Like, a little certain amount of fear, you know, you're not invincible. Especially, it's like these little girls saying that. And again, like, I feel like it's kind of like I don't know what it is. Because I'm not watching these like, oh yeah, this girl's from New York. Like, I don't know. So I'm like, did you move here? And you're just like saying that? It's like, I'm not from here. I'm not trying to say I am, but I'm not going to walk around like, but I will say I feel way safer walking around here than I did in LA because there's just more people outside. Like, you're not the only person, you know? But anyway, it's like a lot of different people. You got to be on point. Like, if I get a bad vibe, you don't have to walk around like in fear, but it's like walk around alert. In this video, I'm like talking about that and I'm like, did y'all never have to walk past the smoke shop, barbershop duo? Because I'm getting real scared. Because facts, and it's just so many spots like that where the barbershop will be right next to the smoke shop and there's bros just smoking outside, waiting outside, and you gotta walk past in your little dress, and it's just like, turn my music up, look away, like, you know? But this girl was like, those bros will be there if you need them. It's like, let's hope and pray that they would. You know how many videos I've also seen of girls being like, I was literally punched in the face and nobody did anything, you know? So just look out for yourself, okay? I definitely see how living in New York is not for everyone. I think it's interesting how locked in it's made me. I guess we are kind of on theme of the video. No, but like, it forces you, if you can handle it, to like be on point. And like, I just think of things so logically now, and I'm like, how much, it's like your brain being fully developed, living in a fast-paced pace where you need to be on point. A lot of girlies especially could benefit a lot from being more logical. And I'm not saying be out of touch with your feelings, but so many, it's men and women. Like, a lot of men claim they're not emotional and this and that, but it's like they're just suppressing their emotions, babe. And like, yeah, just because you're not like crying and you're suppressing your tears, that doesn't mean you're not acting emotional. But for example, like if something happens, like, I'm not saying suppress your emotion, but you just have to like turn on your brain to lock in mode and be like, okay, what's the next step I need to take? And then you can just calm yourself down too, because you're just like actually thinking and making a plan, and you're not just like freaking out. Which sometimes you just need to have a little freak out and get over it, or like cry, get over it, like, you know, to get out of your system. I'm not, again, saying suppress your emotions, but I think it's also true that a lot of people just kind of have this like victim mentality, and I think a lot of people who are chronically online give off that vibe. And again, it's kind of, it goes into that like, oh my god, like I just can't talk to anyone because I have so much anxiety. It's like, I'm not saying you don't, but that's something you can work on. Like, it is. And again, it takes being uncomfortable, getting yourself out of your comfort zone, and changing your everyday routine to get the results that you want. And again, it's like if you're thinking about something logically, it's like, okay, what can I do to solve this problem? And let me like do that. Your brain is also a tool. Use it, you know? And again, I'm not trying to say suppress your emotions, or like your emotions aren't valid, or how you feel isn't valid, but it's just sometimes like, ugh. Lock in, babes. Like, stop. You're like looking at your phone all day, like, yummy, little whores and little treats, and then like acting awkward and weird in real life, and then like, oh my god, I feel so alone, and then like avoiding eye contact with everyone that you meet, and then you can change your life, and you're the only one that can change your life and improve your life. And I would say also on the topic of age and just like early 20s to late 20s, I am so grateful I started doing everything when I did. When I started lifting, going to the gym regularly when I did at like 18, started using tretinoin when I did, started doing Botox when I did, because this is kind of like, you start to get into those years where you see who was locked in and who wasn't, and who was just out wasting time or partying, and you see like, okay, who's about their shit. And that's why so many people, they just get older and they don't take control of their life, and they just kind of let life happen, and they don't get out of their comfort zone, and then they're miserable, and then they'll have a midlife crisis and like freak out, and like, babe, you could have just taken the next logical step. You could have embraced being uncomfortable. And again, I'm not trying to make it seem like it's like an easy thing to do to like fix your anxiety, or like to lose weight or gain weight or whatever it is that you want to do, but there's always a next logical step. So just do it. don't be depressed. Just smile. No. But yeah, it's like you have to be the one in the driver's seat of your own life. Because otherwise life is going to happen to you and you're going to blame everyone else around you and just be like, you don't want to be lost. It's not even lost in the sauce at that point. It's just like you're lost. Because time goes by. 5 years go by like that, you know? And so you want to be ahead. Like you want to be already thinking of the next thing. So use your brain. Lock in, babes. Don't forget to share this on your story or tweet me a screenshot. Let me know your thoughts down below in a comment. Message me on IG your thoughts if you want. Let me know what you want me to talk about next week, and I'll talk to you guys then. Bye, everyone.